I went from being active to an activist, to standing with my people like a nationalist, to investing in these projects like a capitalist. Knowing every step I took became hazardous. I broke bread with savages, taught them to be humble with different ways to hustle and make more than what you averaging. Start a couple businesses, stay away from habits. If you can lock these steps down, you'll never have to trap again.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Stocks B, back with another reaction video, and I want to talk about this one, man. This is something that I've personally been through, being arrested wrongfully in prison for something that you did not do. So I want to talk about this, man. And today I'm talking about Robert Johnson, Chicago man, who was wrongfully convicted for 29 years and sat in prison for a homicide that he did not commit. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about this case, man. I'm going to go ahead and play this video and let you guys listen to what he had to say and his experiences from coming home. But if this is your first time checking out my channel, hearing my name, Stocks B, or seeing my content anywhere online, please make sure you smash that like button, hit the share just to show me you care, and that subscribe button, tuck that in your pocket. That's yours. It's free. It don't cost a thing to hit it. Forget it. A little later, I'll be in your notification with some more information. It's that simple, guys. Welcome to the community. I'm glad to have you here. Now let's get check out this content.
After nearly 30 years in prison, 30 years, today was Robert Johnson's first day of freedom. We showed you his release from the Cook County Jail last night after his 1996 murder conviction was vacated. Our Megan Hickey joins me now. Megan, you were there for his first day of many firsts.
Right, Chris. So Robert Johnson has not been able to spend a day the way that he wants to since he was 16 years old. That's when he was arrested for murder. He's always maintained that he had nothing to do with it. Now at 45, he has a lot of catching up to do.
I kept on telling them I didn't have nothing to do with this, but they didn't believe me.
You told me you haven't slept in a couple of days. Why is that?
It's just my mind is racing so much. I haven't had a time. I haven't been able to settle down mentally.
Robert Johnson can't sleep because there's so much he wants to do. After being released last night after nearly 29 years of incarceration, his first stop after hugging his 92-year-old grandmother was Dave & Buster's for dinner. He said he feels like he's been dropped on another planet.
Okay.
As his cousin showed him how to use a laptop computer, the first he's ever seen in his life.
Can you watch movies on here?
Yeah.
The last time then 16-year-old Johnson.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking, man. 16 years when he got 16 years old when he got locked up. But that's heartbreaking. This man has to come home and learn how to use a laptop. He never seen one before. I believe they do have tablets in some prisons, but I'm not sure if he was in one of those. But what I do know is it's a whole new life that this young man has to be. Well, I don't want to call him a young man. We the same age, 46. But that this man has to be introduced to. And it's just it's a heartbreaking situation to know that so many people go through this truthfully in our society, and it's nothing they can do about it.
Police took him from his grandmother's house and arrested him in connection with the April 14th, 1996 murder of a man who was shot and killed in a robbery in his apartment on the South Side. There was no real evidence against him, just the testimony of a teenager who later recanted.
I mean, Robert's case is really stunning because it really starts to make...
And that's something that happened to me, man. Somebody pointed me out. Somebody said from a photo lineup, yeah, that's him. And I'm going to break that down. Because y'all really need to hear this.
You wonder, how did he ever get convicted?
After years of fighting to prove his innocence, his conviction was vacated this week. Next month, the state will determine whether they'll appeal Johnson's case, retry it, or dismiss it. But in the meantime, Johnson hopes he can inspire others in his shoes.
Seeing someone actually walk out of here, it let me know it can be done. You just got to be patient. But it was hope. It gave me hope.
And it was a very good sign that prosecutors didn't move to detain Johnson until his next hearing on March 13th. So his attorney is hopeful that this means the case will not be retried. They're just grateful for some freedom in the meantime, and we'll have much more on some of his firsts coming up at 6.
What a person.
Man, let me say this, man. Huge shout out to Robert Johnson. My prayers go out to him for having to go through something like this, man. And he's right. It's nothing you can tell anyone when you're in a situation like this. The judges, the lawyers, the jailers, no one hears you, you know, especially when you're innocent. Now, I'm not sitting here trying to take up for people that's just saying I didn't do anything and they actually did something. There's no way I'm going to do that. But I've experienced this. I've been arrested for a crime that I did not commit. And the police showed me the evidence that they had, which was absolutely nothing. It was a man with a hoodie on, and all they caught on camera was the back of this man's head, and they never seen a face. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about someone, the teenager pointing him out, is because this is the same thing that happened in my case. Someone that apparently was allegedly at that club that night had claimed that they saw me. They picked me out of a photo lineup, and this is why the police came and arrested me. However, I ended up sitting in jail for a month and was released without any charges. The case was just dismissed. It was just dropped. The judge didn't want to take it on no more. The evidence wasn't going anywhere, and the witness didn't want to come forward. So with that being said, man, you got to understand that this is really happening. In fact, I actually had to stay for an extra 2 weeks, I believe, because I was there during swine flu and there wasn't no movement. And my life was in danger, man. My life was in danger just being locked up. But I was in there during the swine flu pandemic and couldn't move. Everybody was getting sick in there. I mean, 60-70% of the jail was sick at that time. So it was really a scary situation, man, to say the least. But I can't imagine having to do 29 years and go through something like this. The reason I told my story is because I want you guys to understand that there's really people that goes through this every single day. And like he said, there's no one listening. If it wasn't for I believe he said it was a civil rights attorney. I'm not sure if it was a civil rights attorney, but an attorney reached out to him and let him know, listen, we're going to try to fight to get this case overturned. I'm not going to promise you anything, but we're going to try our best. And sometimes that's what it takes. It takes that little bit of someone is willing to give that fight. Someone is willing to put in a little bit of effort to say, okay, I believe you, but let's go ahead and try and move this forward. And, 29 years, I could tell you this, in 30 days, 29 days, I had already, out of 30 days, 29 days, I had lost faith. The first day I got locked up, I went in and I was like, oh, they'll solve this. They'll get to the bottom of this and I'll be home by the end of the night. When I realized that they took me from the precinct and they took me in front of the judge, and the judge remanded me without bond, without bail, and then I was off to jail, that's when I realized, wait, they're not just gonna send me home. I'm not going home. And then the first week is up. You spend a whole week in there. You realize, they're actually keeping me here. My second week and my third week, I completely lost faith at that time. It was just, I don't know what they're going to hit me with, but whatever it is, I'm going to have to do that time. This is before I even seen the judge to know what I was being sentenced for. I was already accepting the fact that it was nothing I could do. There was no way I was leaving. It didn't matter who I told or what I said. They had already had me in there for 3 weeks at that time. And I figured in my mind, listen, whatever they're going to put on me, I'm going to have to take it because they're not letting me go. So after spending a month and change in jail and I was released without any charges, it just made me realize that, there's a lot of people that go through this and it's nothing being said. It's not going to change. No paperwork or anything. They just let me go out the back door. And this isn't the first time that happened. I've been arrested for crimes that I haven't. Police picked me up in the drug sting that I wasn't even in the drug area, and threw me in the back of a van with a bunch of addicts, drug addicts. And I was the only clean person in there, 16, 17 years old. And they charged me with the sale of narcotics. When I got to jail, when I got to court, this is how crazy this is. When I got to court, they had no evidence on me whatsoever. I wasn't in the area of where they did their drug operation, their drug sting. The judge let me go out the back door. No paperwork. Didn't even give me nothing. The judge didn't tell me nothing. He didn't even want to see me. These cases get thrown out sometimes. Sometimes you're fortunate, but then sometimes you're unfortunate where you have to sit there and wait till they decide to let you go. And in this man, Robert Johnson case, he had to wait 29 years. That's truly heartbreaking in my opinion, man. And in my experience, I know how hard it is to do a day in jail that don't belong to you. So, man, I truly pray for him, and I hope that he could get on the right track. I hope that he can stay out. I hope that they can find something positive for this man to do, and I hope he could become a positive voice, an inspiration, and I hope he can stay on the right track, man. So, I don't know, y'all. Let me know what y'all think in the comments about this whole situation, man. And do you know anyone that has been wrongfully convicted, wrongfully arrested, put in jail, and held? It's almost like being a hostage. Well, I was a hostage. I was kidnapped. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. I love to hear from y'all, man. Until next time, man. It's your boy Stotts, man. Y'all stay safe and peace.